This screencast is an introduction to works cited and parenthetical citations. What is citing? A citation is the way you tell your readers that certain material in your essay or presentation came from another source. It also can give your reader the information necessary to help them find that source again. Citing is the second important piece of not plagiarizing. The first piece is what we learned yesterday about summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting. Let's define some of these words. First, a works cited page. A works cited page is a list of sources that you have incorporated within your paper by using the ideas, information, and quotes of others. This will come at the very end of your paper. I also refer to a works cited page as MLA citations. So anytime I say an MLA citation or a works cited page, I mean the same thing. Parenthetical citations are citations to original sources that appear in the text of your paper. So they will actually be after the sentences in your paper. This allows the reader to know exactly what information comes from what source. For example, if you have 5 sources on your works cited page, somebody's not going to know which information in your paper comes from which of those sources unless you use a parenthetical citation. I also refer to parenthetical citations as in-text citations because they are in the text of your paper. Notice the difference between cite and cite. When we say cite with a C, we are talking about the citations. When we talk about cite with an S, we talk about a website. It's important to know the distinction between those. Okay, why do we cite? We cite to give credit in a way to avoid plagiarism. Citations also help people find out more information about their ideas and where they came from. Citing shows the amount of research you have done for your particular project. And citing also strengthens your paper by having other people's support for your specific ideas. How do we cite? We use the style called MLA, which is the Modern Language Association. The Modern Language Association has come up with a formula for different information resources, and it's standardized. Everybody uses that same formula when they cite any book or website. And today we're going to talk about the formula for a book. So let's look at it. Anytime you do an MLA citation for a book, this is the formula you're going to use. You should think about this just like a math formula. You're just going to plug in the information that it asks for exactly where it's asking for it. And that's going to equal an MLA citation. So you notice last name, comma, first name, period. That's the last name and first name of the author. Title of the book, period, and the title is italicized. The city of publication, colon, publisher, comma, and the year of publication, period. And then the medium of publication is how it was published. So, for instance, typical books or the medium would be print because they're actually printed and distributed physically to multiple people. But sometimes you'll have an ebook. So you might write electronic book, ebook, or something like that. And then in the case of internet citations, the medium of publication will be web because you found that source on the web. We'll talk more about website citing tomorrow. Okay, so that's the formula for the MLA citations that will go on your works cited page. The formula for parenthetical citations or in-text citations are much simpler. So if you're using a paraphrase or a summary from a certain source, you're going to put the last name of the author in parentheses at the end of the sentence with the period on the outside of the citation, so that the citation is actually part of the sentence. If you're using a quote, you're going to put the last name and a page number in parentheses with the period on the outside. Okay, so where do you find this information when you're looking at a book? Usually all the information is found within the first few pages. The title and the author can, of course, be found on the front of the book or on the title page. The publisher, publishing city, and the date of publication can usually be found either on the title page or the page directly afterwards. So these are pictures from an actual book, the same book. Notice that on the picture on the left, I have all the information I need, and then some of it is repeated on the other page, which is the title page. So I know that this book was published by the company, the Belknap Press of Harvard University Press, and I know that it was published in Cambridge. I only need one city. And I know it was published in 2008. So those three pieces of information I need. And then here we have the author and the name of the title. So the author is Claudia Dale Golden, and the title of the book is The Race Between Education and Technology. So I found all that information I needed just on 2 pages of the book. Okay, let's look at some examples. So I've given you the formula at the top of these slides, and I'm going to go through and give you some examples of how I would put this together. So if I was citing this book in my paper, The Long Tail by Curtis Anderson, which was published by Hyperion in 2006 in New York City, I'm going to start with the author's name. Notice I use his last name first, comma, first name, and a period. The title of the book, The Long Tail, italicized, and a period. The city of publication is New York, colon. The publisher is Hyperion, comma. The year of publication is 2006, period. And the medium is print, period. And this is what it would look like. Notice the second line of this MLA citation is indented. You are used to indenting the first line of, say, a paragraph. We actually do the opposite when we're doing MLA citations. The first line should go all the way to the left margin, and then if it's too long to fit on one line and it goes over to 2 or 3 lines, each line after the first line should be indented or tabbed. Okay, now if I was paraphrasing text in my paper and I had a paraphrase sentence, at the end of the sentence I would put the author's last name in parentheses and then a period at the end, and that would be my in-text or parenthetical citation. Okay, let's do another example. So this is my information. Notice I have 2 authors on this one, so it's going to be slightly different. Okay, this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to have Malice, comma, Stanley, and Jeffrey McQuain. When you have 2 or more authors, only the first author goes last name, first name. Every other author afterwards, you do regular first name, last name. And notice there's no comma in between Jeffrey and McQuain. The comma between the last name and the first name of the first author tells me that their names are switched, last name, first name. Coined by God is the title of the book, and it's italicized. New York is the city, colon, W.W. Norton and Company is the publishing company, comma, 2003 is the year, period, print, period. If I was quoting something from this book, I would write my quote, close my quotation marks, then I would open parentheses and put the last name of the first author, comma, a page number, close quotes, and put my period on the outside. You only need page numbers for quotations. Alright, so here's my information for this example. And this is what it would look like. I don't really know how to pronounce his name, but the author's last name, comma, the author's first name, period. Uncle Ben's Choice is the title of the book. That's italicized with a period after it. New York is the city, colon, W.W. Norton and Company is the publishing company, comma, the year is 2005, period, print period. If I had a summary at the end of the passage I was summarizing, I would open parentheses, put the last name of the author, close parentheses, and put a period at the end. Okay, now notice this one, I'm missing some information. So either for whatever reason, they didn't have a publisher or they didn't have a year. You can't just leave those things out, okay? When there's no publisher or no year, there are special symbols we use or abbreviations we use to let our audience know that that information was missing. So I'm going to start with all the same information. I'm going to fill in everything I can. So I have an author, so I would write Smith, comma, Joshua, period. The title of the book, Those Insufferable Greeks, italicized, period. It was published in Denver, so I write Denver, colon, but I don't have the publisher or the year of publication. So how I'm going to write that is after Denver, comma, I'm going to write N.P. and that denotes that I have no publisher. And then notice the year of publication, I write N.D. and that tells my readers that there was no date. And then I also include the print at the end. If I was including a summary for this, I would do the same thing with the author's last name in parentheses at the end of my summary. Using the examples that are given to you on the back of your worksheet, use the book formula to create an MLA citation for those 4 examples.